Good morning, and welcome back to Gaming with ADHD. I'm here today with what I think will be a quick video. We're going to unbox and do a small review of the Corruption and Ascension expansion for It's a Wonderful World. So, bear with me a little bit. As the name of the channel implies, I get a little impatient sometimes. So I have technically already opened the box, but we're going to open it up and I'll show you what's inside and we'll talk about it. So let's get started. So this is the box. It's a bit smaller than the original, but it is printed very well, has a nice piece of art on it. So this is from the same designer and artist as the original game. And so inside we have the rules, list of contents, explanation of the new deck, and the new rules. The new rules are actually really short. We'll go over those in a minute. But let's take a look at everything. Let me get some more light in here. Okay, so first off, we have additional resource cubes. It's the exact same cubes as you receive in the base game. Keep in mind, you do need the base game in order to use this expansion. But you get 10 of each of the resource cubes. In addition, they have new financier and general tokens. They now have a value of 3, and you receive 10 of each of these tokens. So, same art, just added a number 3 to it. You receive 2 new empires, the nations of Oceania, both A and B sides, and the hegemony of the North, again with the A and the B sides. Keep in mind, when you're playing the game, you do need to have all players using the same lettered side. So, you get 56 of the Corruption and Ascension cards. Keep in mind, these do have different backs, and I'll explain how you use them during the rules. Needless to say, with different backs, these do not get shuffled in with the main deck of cards. So let's take a look at some of these. So we've got Border Patrol. This is one of the first cards with the new mechanic here, which is Corruption. Basically, the corruption means that you lose 1 of that particular resource to a minimum of 0 when you're generating resources. So it'll never take away from resources you already have, but it will cancel out any other resources. So we've got the Border Patrol, the Crystallium Power Plant. So there's a lot more cards that use the Crystallium. The Robot Factory with another piece of corruption. The Gold Mine. Secret Base. Lawless Zone. The Occult District. So this one I actually kind of like a lot. For 1 gray, you get a building that generates a gray, but unfortunately does corrupt a science. But you do get a reward of a Crystallium. So, could actually be pretty powerful. Offshore Laboratory. Floating Palace. So these actually get into some that are pretty fun just as far as the concept goes. I really like this one. It has kind of a Howl's Moving Castle kind of feel to it. Giant robot. This is one of the other new rules. You'll score points based on how many combinations, so how many black and gray cards that you have. Armored convoy. Mobile base, which actually I guess the floating palace, I guess that would be Castle in the Sky, and that would be Howl's Moving Castle. But still. Inquisitors. Raiders. Planetary Archives. Telekinesis. Artificial Intelligence. These are some of the new super projects. Basically, they just cost a ton of resources to get out, but theoretically can be pretty powerful. Artificial Sun, 25 points. Immortality. Utopia. Tax Haven. Celestial Cathedral. Intercontinental Network. High Security Prison. Orbital Station. World Bank. Luxury Clinic. The Wall. Consortium. Mining Asteroid. Hyperborea. Valhalla. Mysterious Vessel. Pandemonium. Pandora's Box. Alpha Centauri. And Shambhala. I really do like how they mix in for some of the cultural cards. I like how they mix in some stuff that's just complete fantasy and just there for fun. And then the last thing that we have is a dry erase score tracker. Enough for 7 players, as you can see at the top. Double-sided. Not sure. Nope, there is no difference between the sides. And a dry erase marker. So, that's what you get inside. So let's take a close-up of the 2 new nations. So we've got Oceania, which generates 3 materials and 1 military, and scores 1 point for every materials factory. And then the B side, you get 2 materials, 1 military, and 1 science. For the hegemony of the North, you start with 3 military and score 2 points per military card that you construct. And then on the reverse, again, you have 2 materials, 1 military, 1 science. All right, so couple of different rule changes. So first off is the setup. You're going to shuffle the deck by itself, and it's kept separate. And then when you're dealing out cards, again, based on the number of players, you'll deal out a number of It's a Wonderful World cards and a number of Corruption and Ascension cards. So when players are drafting their cards, they can select from any of the cards in their hand and pass as normal. And then once everybody has drafted 7 cards, then the draft ends. So regardless of whether any base cards or Corruption and Ascension cards are left. So basically it doesn't really change the game as far as the setup is concerned. As far as the The planning phase, that is identical. They didn't change anything there. During the production phase, you have the corruption, as we talked about, where it will cancel resources that you may have generated. Okay. And then finally, at the end of the game, the only difference is the scoring for the duels or duos. Now, they do have additional rules for the solo mode, and then also for playing with 6 or 7 players. Obviously, with 2 new empires, that does give some additional options. One of the biggest changes for 6 and 7 players is that when you are calculating who generates the most of a resource to see who gets the bonus, if there's so basically it's the top 2 will gain the bonus. However, if there is a tie for second, then only the person who has the most will receive it. And if 3 or more people are tied for first, then no one receives it. Let's see. All right, and then they do have 6 solo scenarios. I have not tried any of the solo scenarios. For some reason with my board games, I've just got a mental block about playing them solo. For some reason, I feel you should play a board game with more than one person. But that's just me. But regardless, you do have additional scenarios, additional ways to play. So I think that was cool for them to add in. And then finally, the War or Peace expansion. So I do have this. I obviously haven't done a review of it, but I also haven't played it yet. Because of the campaign stuff, there are some spoilers in it. So, I'm not quite sure what I'll do with that, but that's a different story. And basically the catch here is that you can do one-off games using the campaign stuff, from War or Peace. However, you cannot play a 6 or 7 player campaign. So that's the only difference there. Overall, just the fact that they kept it very simple, they didn't really change the rules. I think this is a great expansion. They put more players in. That's one thing that I always struggle with. I always want to invite more people over for game night, much to my wife's annoyance. But I do like having the option to play more players. And so the fact that they just gave an option that lets you have more players, lets you do some slightly different things without drastically changing the game, I think this is a really solid expansion. If you have It's a Wonderful World and you like it, I absolutely recommend picking up the Corruption and Ascension expansion, which should be available in retail now. I picked it up just last weekend at my local game store. So I hope you found this useful. Please give it a like and share it around if you enjoyed it. And if you haven't already, I would absolutely appreciate a subscription to the channel, because I've got more stuff that I'm planning on doing and I'd love to share it with you. So thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.